Okay, everybody, thank you for being here. Today is Monday, July 1st, 2024. This is the Gary Sanitary District meeting. Will everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next we have roll call.
Commissioner William Allen.
Present.
Commissioner Ola Morris.
Present.
Commissioner Maurice Mabon.
Present.
Commissioner Darnell Lyles.
Present.
Commissioner William Cook.
Present.
Attorney Jewel Harris Jr.
Present.
Interim Director of Administration Brenda Scott Henry.
Here.
And that's the end of roll call.
With all members present, we have a quorum. Moving on to certification pursuant to Indiana law, section 5-14-1.5-6.1. I certify that prior to the start of today's meeting, there was an executive session held and nothing was discussed in the session that was not indicated on the posted notice. That being said, being in compliance with Indiana statutes, there were no final votes held during the executive session. Does any member dissent? Hearing none, moving on to minutes. What is the pleasure of the minutes?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion for acceptance of the executive session and regular minute meetings of June 17, 2024.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
I second it, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Cook.
Yes.
Commissioner Lyles.
Yes.
Commissioner Mabon.
Yes.
Commissioner Morris.
Yes.
Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, the minutes have been passed. Moving on to new business, we have 2.1.
We have a motion to approve GSD payroll earnings for the period of May 20th, 2024 through June 2nd, 2024, an amount of $252,689.55. I move for approval.
After hearing the overview and recommendation
Ask for approval.
for 2.1 payroll, what is the pleasure of the board?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second for 2.1. Do we have any comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Cook.
Yes.
Commissioner Lyles.
Yes.
Commissioner Mabon.
Yes.
Commissioner Morris.
Yes.
Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, payroll has been approved.
Mr. Foster, that's it today.
Moving on to 2.2.
Motion 2.2 is a motion, item 2.2 is a motion to approve GSD Resolution SD 24-03, appointing an interim director of operations and an interim executive director, approving the job descriptions for each position, and establishing a salary for each position for the Gary Sanitary District. I recommend approval.
Okay, after hearing the overview and recommendation for 2.2, what is the pleasure of the board?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Well, second, and I did have a question, Mr. Chair, before we go on. I'd like for that to also reflect that it would be retroactive to, I think, was it April 14th, 15th? I'd like for it to be retroactive to April 15th for both parties.
Okay.
And if there's a second for that motion, I'll make sure that the resolution that's signed off on by the board includes the April 15th retroactive date.
Okay. So motion's been made and second for approval of 2.2 with the condition that it reflects retroactivity for April 15th. If there's no other further questions or comments, roll call.
Commissioner Cook.
Yes.
Commissioner Lyles.
Yes.
Commissioner Mabon.
Yes.
Commissioner Morris.
Yes.
Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, 2.2 has been approved.
Thank you, Board.
Moving on to 2.3.
Item 2.3 is a motion to approve task order number 1 to contract by and between Gary Sanitary District and Taft Law for the completion of the financial capability assessment in support of Gary Sanitary District's development of the long-term control plan in an amount not to exceed $60,000. I recommend approval.
After hearing the overview and the recommendation, what is the pleasure of the board for 2.3?
Move for passage.
Is there a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second.
Mr. President, if I could?
Yes.
So with respect to this project, there is a specific way in which Taft Law, if they obtain board approval, will be satisfying this request for task order number 1, and they would be working specifically with Burns and McDonnell in order to complete the financial capability assessment. As indicated by our interim executive director, the FCA is a requirement of the consent decree, and in particular, the long-term control plan. There is a time-sensitive nature to this, and that's the reason it's on the agenda for today's meeting. But there will need to be some language included in the task order that reflects the fact that there is going to be a subcontract relationship between Taft Law and Burns and McDonnell. Now, Burns and McDonnell is very familiar with this FCA work. The regulators who will be reviewing this FCA are also familiar with Burns and McDonnell. And for that reason, I think the staff and myself are recommending that we move forward with this. We just need a condition included in that motion to allow for the task order to cover all the nuances of the arrangement for this task order number 1.
Thank you for that, Attorney Harris.
And if you had any additional questions, Taft Law is on the Zoom meeting.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, hearing none, so the motion was made and properly second. So at that point, I'll entertain roll call.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Lyles,
Yes.
Commissioner Maybon,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, motion has been approved for 2.3. Moving on to 2.4.
2.4 is a motion to approve, to rescind the award of a contract that the commission approved on August 7th, 2023, to UniFirst for uniforms and mat rentals for the Gary Sanitary District. So back in August, the commission made a recommendation, approved the recommendation that was made by staff to move forward with UniFirst. The staff has decided to, is asking that you rescind that so we can put this item out for bid.
So why are we rescinding it?
We're rescinding it because it was, there are some additional services that were not included for UniFirst. So for example, the existing Centus contractor that we're with, we've terminated that service, given them notification of termination, and now we need to fairly put this item out for bid for other vendors, and not just to select a company, UniFirst, to be that supplier. And Joe Harris may have some more that he wants to add to that.
Yeah, I can add to that. Basically, I think there's, what is being explained to the board is that there's 2 issues. Whether or not the prior procurement process was as competitive as it could possibly be, so as to assure that we're getting the best cost and the best possible service. And then I think the scope of work that's included in the contract with UniFirst, as it currently says, is not all encompassing. It doesn't include everything that's included in the Cintas contract. So there may still be a need to contract then either with another company or to add to the UniFirst current contract. So the thought and recommendation of the board is, let's rescind that award of contract, do the procurement process again to make sure it's as competitive as possible, and then ensure that the scope of work includes all services that we may need from companies like Cintas or UniFirst. And that's the recommendation.
So if we approved this contract some months ago, has the company performed under the contract we approved?
No, that, the agreement was never signed, that we moved forward on it. So I went back to look at the documentation, so it was
It's
never
never been
signed.
signed, what are we rescinding?
So that's a very good question, and that's one of the things I asked the staff to confirm before we went forward with taking board action on this, is whether or not there was a contract signed or not. What the board did was approve an award of contract, meaning that the staff has the authority to go forward, finalize the terms of an agreement, and sign off on it. That never actually happened. That's my understanding of what happened. So
That is correct.
you're rescinding your approval of an award of contract, which was never executed. So it just resets us so that we're procuring in good faith services that are actually needed.
Yeah, but aren't we still bound under a contract with Cintas?
We never executed a contract with Cintas. The only thing we have is,
Wait a minute,
You?
we're doing those services for us.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We went to,
you're asking Cintas, I was thinking UniFirst, I'm sorry. We've already sent notice to Cintas that we're not renewing their agreement. So there is an agreement that's there, we've given them the required notice so that we can terminate that relationship. So we don't have an ongoing obligation to Cintas going forward.
so is Cintas's contract just normally terminating pursuant to the agreement?
Yes, but we had to send them notice, otherwise we'd be subject to a renewal.
Got it.
So, yeah.
And so what is our plan? Are we going to wait till the Cintas contract is terminated?
No, I think the staff's going to start
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 now
now.
for procuring those services.
Sounds good to me.
Well, is this UniFirst going to be one of the companies that are going to bid?
They have a right to if they want to, but we're going to put it out so they can be fairly, we can get some competitive proposals to weigh out.
Yeah, no one is excluded.
And, yeah, no one is excluded from it, but we need all of the services that are being
Yeah, but
replaced.
what if, I mean, if you can recall, what was bought before the board was an all-inclusive package. That wasn't inclusive of?
It didn't include all of the services that Cintas provides currently, which include a safety component.
Yeah, but I think
I think what was hanging out was whether they were going to give us the uniform shirts or something. Is that right, Causey?
So, the agreement we have with Cintas uniforms is the same as the agreement with UniFirst. The UniFirst, yeah, it's apples and apples. What happened is that at the time when the board voted to go with Cintas, or award them that, we did not know, we did not have a contract for Cintas. After you guys approved it, a month later, Cintas sends over this agreement. And so we've been working, trying to figure out how to get out of that agreement. And it seemed that the result here is to let them go ahead and finish out their agreement. We put this out for bid, and we'll let UniFirst, because I did all of that before. We just didn't do it for bid. I looked for other companies, and they were the best ones that I found, but I did not go through, I guess you would say, the proper bidding. I mean, the board did not send it out for bid. I solicited other companies to contract out. So I mean, I'm perfectly fine with what's happening.
And just to kind of complete that story, and thank you for the background, Mr. Cossey. The motivation for all of this started with what Mr. Cossey discovered to be some improper.
Extra billing, right?
Correct, some extra billing. So what he was attempting to do was to solve that problem of Cintas's billing errors, I'll call it. and to instead look for someone else immediately so that we didn't have a gap in the service we were being provided. It wasn't just that the contract was running out and now we're re-procuring for a service and going through a full procurement process. And I think that's where things are looked at a little bit differently. And I think now the staff is looking at it saying, hey, let's let the Cintas contract run out. We've provided them notice that they're not being renewed, and we're going to do a full-blown formal procurement to make sure everyone gets an opportunity to
Is
propose.
that a yearly contract? What's the extent of the contract?
That's subject to negotiation. You can enter into the
I mean, the
agreement.
current contract that Centage has with us now.
It was more, yeah, it was a 5-year
5
agreement.
years?
Automatic renewal unless terminated?
Correct. Yes.
Because I noticed on,
Actually, if we did not let them know in a certain period of time, it was automatic.
That's right. And we've sent that. We've sent that.
yeah, because I know we, on 504 Broadway, we pay more for the rugs than we pay for security.
I mean, absolutely.
I mean, that's,
In all fairness, though, the rug contract was with Airmark, it wasn't with Cintas.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Cossi.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. I guess after hearing the overview and then the recommendation, for 2.4, what is the pleasure of the board?
Move for passage?
Second. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Lyles?
Yes.
Commissioner Maybon?
Yes.
Commissioner Morris?
Yes.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, 2.4 has been approved. Moving on to 2.5.
Okay, so 2.5 is a motion to approve award of bid to LGS Plumbing, Inc. for sanitary sewer replacement at the vicinity of 1307 Idaho Street, an amount not to exceed $59,600. The engineering department went through a request for quote process. The notice was sent to 12 contractors, and we received, LGS was the lowest and most responsible and responsive contractor, and so they're asking for the approval of this award. I don't know if there's anything in. And the additional documentation is found in our board packet here for us to review, if there's any other questions.
Are there any questions or comments? After hearing the overview and the recommendation for 2.5, what is the pleasure of the board?
Move for passage?
Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second for 2.5. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Lyles?
Yes.
Commissioner Maybon?
Yes.
Commissioner Morris?
Yes.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, 2.5 has been approved. Moving on to 2.6.
2.6 is to ratify and approve an award of bid to American Precision Services for the emergency repair of the center return activated sludge pump, an amount not to exceed $44,058. I recommend approval. So it was quoted. I need to know, oh, never mind. I recommend approval.
Do we have any, after hearing the overview and recommendation for 2.6, what is the pleasure of the board?
Move for passage?
Is there a second?
I second it, Mr. Chair.
Do we have any comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call?
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Lyles?
Yes.
Commissioner Maybon?
Yes.
Commissioner Morris?
Yes.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, 2.6 has been approved. Moving on to 2.7.
2.7 is a motion to approve a sole source purchase of the dry done equipment for the purchase of 2 Haywood Gordon complete pump assemblies to replace the sludge pump located in the digester in an amount not to exceed $79,280. I would like to, I don't know the technical nuances of this, but I would like to say that we are repairing some of the, we have a list of violations that we received on late April, early May, and this is one of the items that we are requesting approval for so that we can do the repairs on the digesters. And most of this work that we're trying to do is in-house so that we can reduce our costs.
And then we can expect delivery between 18 to 22 weeks.
Yep, I don't have that in my packet, so I couldn't even talk to you. Yeah.
Okay. For 2.7, after hearing the overview and the recommendation. Oh,
Mr. Chairman,
Yep.
question. These are new items, correct?
Yeah, these are new pumps.
Okay. No further questions.
okay. Any other comments or questions? After hearing the overview and the recommendation for 2.7, what is the pleasure of the board?
Move to passage.
Second, Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second. Roll call for 2.7.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Lyles?
Yes.
Commissioner Maybon?
Yes.
Commissioner Morris? Yes. Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, 2.7 has been approved. Next brings us to claims, 3.1.
3.1 is GSD claim numbers 1646 through 1794 in amount of $1,447,518.01. I recommend approval and ratification of the claim list.
Thank you. What is the pleasure of the board for claims, 3.1?
Move for passage.
Is there a second?
I'll second it, Mr. Chair. But I do have a question regarding claims. I notice we're now doing business with Amazon Capital Services. How do we go about selecting companies like Amazon to do business with? And I also noticed that we were talking about doing some things in-house. I noticed we do business with Pinnacle Cleaning Services that provide janitorial services for 504 Broadway. Is that something we can bring in-house and provide maybe an hour or two overtime a day or a week or whatever for our own employees? I mean, they're not scrubbing or buffing floors. I think the floors are carpeted down there. I think they empty garbage, maybe clean the bathrooms, maybe run a vacuum cleaner, maybe clean some glass. Can we provide an hour a day? Because I'm pretty sure they're not working more than an hour a day down there. So, Madam Director, can you take a look into that?
Absolutely, sir. We're already in motion to send them a notification because that contract really expired in 2022. Today is the first day that our maintenance staff will start doing janitorial services at 504 Broadway.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah, I did send the notice of termination, so.
oh yeah?
Yes.
Boy, you are on the ball. Ms. Morris, you were right.
Saving a little money. Good thing.
We're saving millions of dollars
That is-
by doing things in-house and being more thorough with the,
I think we're going to have to increase our,
hold up, that's okay. No more discussion.
and increase that bonus formula. Yeah.
All right. After hearing the overview and recommendation, actually, no, we made a motion and it's been seconded. If there's no further comments or questions, hearing none, roll call?
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Lyles?
Yes.
Commissioner Maybon?
Yes.
Commissioner Morris?
Yes.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, claims have been approved. Okay, moving on to information updates. We have construction activities. Mr. Tonk?
Good morning, Board. I'm going to provide a quick update on the major construction projects going on. The first one Still with the grid improvements project with the Army Corps of Engineers. They were able to negotiate the spare grid pump motors for us, so those will be in our possession shortly. As far as litigations between Army Corps and First Street contractors is outside of my purview, but hopefully they're resolving that soon. The 27 Chase Street Pump Station Force Main Replacement Project, that project is underway. They should be fully mobilized now and digging and installing that fiberglass pipe, so they are still on schedule. It's going to be a tight schedule, but they're so far on schedule for August 22nd to get completed. The next one is 27 Chase Street Pump Station bar screen replacement. The east and the west bar screens are in place. They are still currently installing the electrical and control panels for this equipment. The last I heard, the manufacturer will be here July 8th for the startup and testing of these bar screens.
This is the work that's causing Chase Street to be closed off, correct?
So that's the Force Main project on 25th Avenue.
Right.
Yeah, that's the Force Main project.
Okay.
And once they get into the intersection, they'll be open cutting down Chase Street. It'll be an open cut project.
Oh, down Chase?
Down Chase, towards 23rd.
Okay, we're making some progress, huh?
I'm glad to see that they started.
Yeah.
And the last one is the Lake Street Drainage Improvements Project. The bridge over the lagoons are completed, so that's good. The pedestrian bridge at Miller Woods, the Douglas Center is still ongoing, but Grimmer Construction does have work to complete. I believe from Birch to Cypress, Cypress to Hemlock is getting paved or has already been paved. They still have to put in the bike lane. They're also going to reconstruct 3rd Avenue and Lake Street. It's kind of, the transition isn't good from new construction to existing. Just want to do some work there. And once the air show's over, they're going to be continuing north of Hemlock all the way to the beach with the stormwater detention basins. And that's all I have. I'll take any questions.
Just had a question about Ironwood, and obviously 808 East 35th Avenue, we're still having a problem with the water company?
Yeah, also the contractor who was aware of that project isn't in business anymore, so I was gonna have a discussion.
So who's that?
AMETS.
Oh, so,
Is that a business?
They sold to LGS.
wow. So that's why the bids are, that's pretty slick.
So I'm in discussion with Cole about how to resitting these projects and get them back out to bid.
Yeah.
So you ran Mets out of business?
I didn't do them, no, that wasn't me.
Well, you-
I think just being in the business for as long as he has.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
well,
Father,
He retired?
yeah, he retired, and then he sold his business to
yeah, but I think we
LGS.
should have been made aware of.
We didn't know until we just
Yeah.
found out
Because the
last week.
bids, Mets has traditionally been, on a lot of these sewer jobs, the lowest responsible bidder. And now all of a sudden, the last 2 or 3 board meetings, LGS has been the lowest responsible bidder.
Yep, and we were
Yeah.
sending them notices too, Commissioner Mabon, we were sending notices that, and then Cola just happened to follow up, or Eric followed up, and that's when we learned that, of this new transaction. So, that does solve the mystery.
So hopefully these other contractors can get their estimating pencils a little sharper and get some competitive bids.
Well, sometimes when companies are for sale like that, you know, I think there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that would love to have known. I mean, he didn't tell us that when he last came before us, that he was thinking about closing shop or selling his business. I wish he had, you know, because I mean, Darnell's been putting pressure over the years for getting minorities involved and those types of opportunities, because we don't have a plumber in the city that do that type of work. Had we knew that he was going to sell his business, there may have been some outpouring and some outreach to some people that was interested in doing that kind of work.
Yeah, but there's a couple contractors in the city of Gary, but they can't dig as deep as Mets could. They can do some of the shallower work.
Oh, it's kind of hard to do it with a spoon, eh? Yeah, that's interesting. Did you know that?
Do we have any comments or other questions?
No, that's it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Thomas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next brings us to discussion. Are there any items that any member would like to discuss? Hearing none, are there any requests to speak?
No, sir.
Okay, is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second, all right.
Yeah.
Meeting everybody. Now, this is the Stormwater Management District meeting. Today is July 1st, 2024. Roll call, please.
Director William Allen.
Present.
Director Ola Morris. Present. Director Maurice Mabon.
Present?
Director Darnell Lyles.
Present.
Director William Cook.
Present.
Attorney Jewel Harris Jr.
Present?
Interim Executive Director Brenda Scott Henry.
Here.
And that's the end of roll call.
I think we have a quorum. No certification since no items that were discussed in the executive section pertain to stormwater. Next, we have minutes. Well, what is the pleasure of the minutes?
Make a motion, Mr. Chair, to accept the regular meeting minutes of June 17, 2024.
Do we have a second?
Second it, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second for the minutes. Roll call, please.
Director Cook.
Yes.
Director Lyles.
Yes.
Director Mabon.
Yes.
Director Morris.
Yes.
Director Allen.
Yeah.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, the minutes have been approved. Moving on to new business, 2.1.
2.1 is a motion to approve Gary Stormwater Management District payroll earning for the period ending May 20th, 2024 through June 2nd, 2024, in amount of $7,190.25. I recommend approval.
After hearing the overview and the recommendation, what is the pleasure of the board for 2.1 for payroll?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Move second, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second. Do we have any comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Director Cook.
Yes.
Director Lyles.
Yes.
Director Mabon.
Yes.
Director Morris.
Yes.
Director Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, payroll has been approved. Moving on to 2.2.
2.2 is a motion to approve Gary Stormwater Management District Resolution Number SW 24-23, appointing the interim Director of Operations and the interim Executive Director for jobs descriptions for each position and establishing a salary for each position for the Gary Stormwater Management District. I recommend approval.
Thank you. What is the pleasure of the board for 2.2?
Move for passage.
Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second. Are there any comments or questions?
I'm just hoping that retroactivity applies to that also.
Yes. Hearing no other comments or questions, roll call.
Director Cook.
Yes.
Director Lyles.
Yes.
Director Mabon.
Yes.
Director Morris.
Yes.
Director Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, 2.2 has been approved. Moving on to claims, 3.1.
Gary Stormwater Management District claims number 87 through 93 in amount of $394,982.73. I recommend approval and ratification of of the claims.
After hearing the recommendation for 3.1, what is the pleasure of the board?
Move for passage.
Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second for claims. Do we have any comments or questions?
I just have one question. Regarding the payment to Grimmer, is that's from ARPA money, correct?
I cannot answer that for you. I can look. Oh, he's there?
Who is that?
Oh, What'd you get here?
Your seat is on fire.
Literally.
I didn't know if
You sit here like a teacher that should be at the desk.
So,
To answer the question, yes, this is something that will go in an ARPA, but the board has to approve it, approve the project.
Okay, and we get reimbursed, correct?
No, this is going to be paid directly out of ARPA,
Directly out of opera?
directly out of ARPA.
Okay. All right.
any other comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Director Cook?
Yes.
Director Lyles?
Yes.
Director Maybon?
Yes.
Director Morris?
Yes.
Director Allen?
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, claims have been approved. Next, we have information updates, MS4 updates.
Yes, so I'm going to ask Attorney Monroe to come up and give an update on our meeting with Mayor Melton this morning. But while she's coming, the staff, I'm so proud of our staff for getting us ready for the parade. Don't you guys forget that we'll be there on June 3rd. July 3rd, starting at 6 p.m. We're getting our lineup together, so come out and root for us.
I'm even more proud of Attorney Monroe for this pro bono work she does.
Well, as I have said to the council before, I don't believe I took a vow of that I was not going to ask for any monies. Not a lot, but some. But good afternoon. And this morning, we did meet with the mayor about the ordinance that we have been working on, Chapter 119 ordinance. I believe everyone is on schedule. We have sent that information over to the law department so that they can draft it, the appropriate ordinance to have it on the common council's agenda. The mayor was in agreement. He, said everyone did an excellent job, and we just wanted to advise him of what was going on, so that if he's in the public somewhere and they ask him about the passage of this ordinance, he will understand, or he'll know what's going on. So that's where we are. It should be before the council in the next couple of weeks.
Thank you. Do we have any comments or questions? I'm sorry.
I just had a question, just procedurally, so that we know how much time it'll take. Do you get any feel for whether or not this will get assigned to a committee and whether or not they'll take time there, or do you think it'll be on the faster route?
As I've been looking at various council meetings this year, it has not been anything that's been passed. Most things are going through have to take it to committee. I haven't seen them, passing it on all 3 readings, because they do want to give the public an opportunity to respond.
And I just want to add that there are a lot of changes that has happened with the stormwater ordinance, especially in the construction area, where all contractors are required to have a stormwater permit, whether you're doing pollution prevention activities around your site while you're doing demolition to protect our storm drains, to the extent of having a post-construction plan. And there's a fee associated with it. So we just want people to, understand that that's how we have been operating, will continue to operate moving forward.
And if I could guess, I would just say that we probably did more than 50% changes to the ordinance. And the ordinance is in compliance with the most updated IDEM as well as EPA regulations. So if I could guess, Attorney, I would say probably by mid next month. So I hope that's still on the calendar of the clerk.
It is. We were just trying to keep a handle on how much time it might take, but that works just fine.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have American Structure Point.
Good afternoon, directors. John Tucker, American Structure Point. Update on our Lake Street drainage project. Over the past couple weeks, we have completed the first lift of asphalt between Cypress and Hemlock. End of the day today, all the curb and gutter will be placed between Cypress and Hemlock. And in the next couple weeks, Grimmer will be grading behind the curb, getting everything prepped for sidewalks and drives. That'll be probably within the next couple weeks. And then they anticipate the next 2 lifts of asphalt next week after the holiday week, so sometime mid of next week. So they're moving forward. As Eric mentioned in the previous meeting, they will be dropping back to 3rd Avenue to take care of that intersection that was skipped at the very beginning just to keep things moving forward. We'll get in there after the bridge is set for the pedestrian bridge, which is slated for the 18th and 19th of July. That'll allow us to finish 3rd Avenue ahead of the air show and then have Lake Street open from 3rd all the way through to the lake without any construction and asphalt all the way up to we won't do the surface, but just up to the last lift. And then after the air show, we will be moving north of Hemlock with the last 2 phases of construction. That is an update on that project. If there's any questions, concerns, I'd be happy to answer.
So John, based on that schedule you gave, when would be the first time people could travel, let's say from 3rd all the way north before the air show? Can they do that now, or is it a week or 2?
If you follow people now, everyone's been using it all the way through, but getting duck and dodge. I would say probably after right at the air show time will be the first time to go all the way through, because we do have to do a full closure at 3rd. So there will be a detour set up to go 4th Avenue to Grand Boulevard and back to Hemlock. That's kind of up already right now, but we'll put the advanced signs for that as well. So I would say unimpeded would probably be after, or right before the air show, but after the 3rd Street construction. But everything north of that, it is open and they keep access for residents, and people are using it through there, but everything's kind of cohabitating up through the area, so.
Thank you.
And any other comments or questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next, we have Robinson Engineering.
Good afternoon. My name is Tom Nagel with Robinson Engineering. I'm going to be sitting in for Ron Smith for today's presentation. I got a very short comments on Lake Street. Lake Street, the project is substantially done. There's a couple pieces of guardrail that has to be replaced. We're waiting for materials to be delivered on the guardrail. Once that's done, we're going to do a final walkthrough on her. And the other project is 6th Place in Howard. We're in the process of setting a meeting with Director Brenda Scott Henry to follow through on what's going to happen with that project. I'm not Ron Smith, obviously, but if you have any questions, I could convey it back to Ron Smith and get you an answer. Mr. Allen asked a question last month, and we got an answer immediately to him. But anything I can do to help you, I'll be happy to help you.
Was that with the throwing of the rocks that have been deposited there? Was there a remedy for that situation?
I'm sorry, Mr. Cook, I don't have the details on it. I'm just a warm body responding to comments. That's it. But I could get you an answer. So
There was a concern, and someone had mentioned maybe put a netting over it or something of that nature, whereas it would not allow them access to those big rocks.
Okay, and this is on which project?
The bridge.
The bridge, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're concerned about vandalism and someone using rocks
Picking
as.
up those rocks
Yeah.
and
So
throwing them in the water.
So what's happening right now, since the west side of the bridge, can't be used because they're pouring the concrete, folks are hugging alongside the east side, and so there's curb and then stone, and that stone is being taken and thrown, into the water. So that was one of the concerns that was being looked into. The other concern was just pretty much, so before the bridge project took place, there were a lot of trees preventing folks from going down alongside the bridge and onto the water directly. Since those trees have been removed, it's kind of like an open space, inviting, folks to, slide down and get closer to the water. So Ron mentioned that he'll have some type of fencing be extended in order to prevent, folks from, straying down.
I tell you what, I'm going to talk to Ron, and Ron will get back to everybody on the board with the comments he comes back on this. We'll give you an answer on it. Okay?
They'd like to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next brings us to discussion. Are there any items that any of the members or commissioners would like to bring up? Hearing none, moving on. Are there any requests to speak?
No, sir.
Okay, do we have a motion for adjournment?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, meeting has been adjourned.